fans, do you want to win your share of $100,000? Simply enter the houseofboxing.com Fight Night Prediction Challenge. Compete with boxing fans around the world. Simply head over to houseofboxing.com and sign up now.
This is Charlie Parsons for Boxing Social in association with houseofboxing.com and Empire Fighter Store. It's been a minute since we've sat in Cirencester and done an interview. Quite nice to have a bit of time off. Thought I'd link back up with the gaffer, although the gaffer is no more. He's in London now, he's everywhere. Come back home for a couple of days. Mark Neilson, always good to see you. How's things, my friend?
Mate, really good. It's amazing to get you back in the Cotswolds, and you got more stamps in your passport. You must have more stamps than the Royal Mail, mate. You know, you're all over globe-trotting.
I'm just trying to be like you. I've experienced that side of life. Now we're flying about. Let's talk a little bit about yourself. A busy period, got a couple of shows coming up. How is all with you in the world of boxing and away from that as well?
Yeah, mental year for us. Mental. Got a couple of shows left. We've done broken records. We're selling out venues. We're hitting Wales for the first time. We're signing more boxers. Absolutely mental year. Loved it. You know, there's always bumps in the road, but overall we've had a great year, great run. We've got a couple of shows left, and we're already looking at next year.
Well, we are going to... Oh, that's a little coffee that I've just elbowed. We are going to do a recap of 2023, but I suppose firstly just talk about the two final shows that you've got this year. Quite big hitters, actually. We go into November the 18th, the Saturday after the York Hall Madness that Misfits has on the Friday night. Next Saturday, Kaisy Khademi, IBO, Continental title. And then on the 25th, you go to the Mecca in Swindon, which is just a brilliant venue. I couldn't believe on the few times that I've done it. Trying to do your thing with Southwest Boxing. Firstly, on Kaisy Khademi next Saturday. Excited for that one? A good title on the line and always a good night in York Hall.
Yeah, brilliant for him as well, Kaisy, because it's an Intercontinental title we got for him following his Continental title win last time. The winner of this qualifies and is eligible for an IBO full world title. So we're looking at Kaisy as a favourite for this, but the guy's got a winning record. He's a handful. He's fought some really good opposition. So it's a tough fight for Kaisy, but he's an excellent fighter. He's great calibre. He's up there. An IBO world title, that'd be brilliant for him. But great card as well. We've got some brilliant 50-50s on the undercard as always. Yeah, we've got Ernie Rutherford and a 50-50. He doesn't want any walkovers, super middleweight. He's looking at title soon. He brings like hundreds with him, absolutely hundreds. Billy Jackson in a 50-50. We've got Amir Kiani. Some really good guys on the undercard. Great show at York Hall. It's our final one. I mean, beginning of last year, and I've said this a couple of times, we hadn't been in London before, and our two previous shows in York Hall this year have sold out with queues around the corner. And it's testament to the effort of the team and the relationships we've got now with all the London gyms and the London boxers. And there's some brilliant talent around there that we're able to do that. And this one will be no different, a sellout for sure.
Must be a real feel-good feeling. Obviously, we know that it's sort of the trademark of British boxing, those fight nights in York Hall. You look back for so long. You spoke in 2021 and 2022 about this expansion. I remember that show back in April. To be consistently doing York Hall now, selling out venues like you say, having the demand for it, that must be a real feel-good feeling. And obviously proof in the pudding that what your project is going as you planned. Yeah,
frustratingly, there's only a 10 fight limit at York Hall where we can do 12 fights ever. Yeah, I mean, I had a list. I started off with a list of 25 potential home fighters on there, and we have to then cherry pick who are the best, our fighters who we want to get out, some of the, partners that we work with, some of their fighters we want to get out, which ones are 50-50s, which ones are titles we can get on, and we have to be a bit ruthless. We can't just hey Mark, I've got a guy, can I stick him on your card? Who is he? What's he going to bring? Is he going to be in a good fight? We don't want, I think some of the other promoters have mentioned it. They don't want just the fillers, the home fighters, fighting the journeyman, just to pad their records out. We haven't got the time for that. We haven't got the space for that. But what it does mean is that we can fill that card with 10 quality fights. And it's, it'll be a sellout for sure. So, it's now part of our regular schedule. We've got 4 dates booked into York Hall already in the diary. And the first couple, we're already stacking up the lineup already on those.
We're going to go into 2024. Before that, let's talk about the week after, 25th, down the Mecca, Swindon. It's almost like a I can't believe I'm saying it for Swindon, but it's like a more glamorous York Hall. It's such a lovely venue, and you always do it up incredibly. There's such a great walkout from the stage, the way it's operated. Always a good night in there. I mean, I think you've been having unlicensed madness there for years before you started in the pro stuff, and it's still a staple of what you're doing. We spoke before about sort of trying to push boxing in the southwest. Once again, I think this is probably, I think you'd admit, one of your best cards that you're doing down at the Mecca.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we did the opening show there back in 2011, back in the unlicensed days, and so we know the venue really, really well. It's a great venue. It's just like it's a York Hall type. Everyone calls York Hall iconic, but this is like the York Hall of the Southwest. It's just a great venue, and we've just, because we know the area so well, we're dominating over in this neck of the woods, and we've got 4 title fights on. We've got an IBO, Shabir Haidary, we're announcing now. It's now been confirmed and sanctioned for an IBO Continental title fight. That puts him in the top 150 in the world in only his 7th fight. The Afghan warrior who has this massive following, and he's a tough guy fighting out of John Pittman's Fight Factory gym. What a great fight. We've got our 2 Africans on there that we promote. Elizabeth Ashoba versus Amy Andrews in a Commonwealth title. Brilliant fight. We've got Tosin Kajawa in a WBC Africa title fight. First time we've had one of those over in the UK for a while. And then just absolutely a full stack card. Also Lewis Roberts in a Commonwealth silver against Jack Hughes. Jack Punk Hughes is a bit of a character in the game as well. So a proper 50-50, and the winner of that is also an English title eliminator. Plus some of ours, we've got our own Jack Bannister in his 3rd fight as cruiserweight that everyone is talking about. Conor Gray at lightweight, super lightweight, 10-0 now, looking to push on and get on TV probably soon. We've got our own Tom Brennan. We've got our own Jensen Irvin. It is a stacked card. I don't know if we need a bigger venue just to get the officials in the room, I think, because there's just so many titles. Have you ever seen one with an IBO, a Commonwealth and a WBC all on the same card?
But on a small hall show as well, very impressive.
And you know what? Why not? Why not?
I totally agree. I suppose just on that then, we were speaking a little bit about it off camera in the car. This is big, right? You talk about having the WBC, the Commonwealth, the IBO. You're also delivering big opportunities to your fighters, and I think that's something that can almost get lost a little bit on the small hall circuit. But you are delivering. Shabir, I've said millions of times on record, such an excellent fighter. His first real opportunity for things to get a little bit sort of, okay, this is sort of where we can hang. We're fighting for an IBO, it gets him ranked. This is where things start to improve from here, right?
Yeah, he's certainly one of those boxers. He doesn't want to fight journeyman anymore. He's done his time. He's done his schooling. He wants to crack on now, and so we've delivered this for him. And then he wants bigger and bigger fights after this. There's certainly a lot of names out there that are going to want to fight him, and there's an awful lot are going to try and avoid him. We found that already because we were trying to get a southern area over the line, and just no one in the southern area fancies him. It's just one of them. So, but he's destined for big things. So there's rumours and big names are circulating trying to sign him. We're fortunate we've got him at the moment, and we're going to deliver for him while we've got him. But he's just entertaining, massive. He's this fantastic ring entrance and this big bearskin outfit as an Afghan warrior. He sells hundreds of tickets, and and he's going to be in a proper fight. But he's never in a dull fight. He's just got he's aggressive, he's strong, just wants to go forward. Not one of these defensive, tucked up, tidy little boxers. He's just aggressive, and that fight would be worth watching.
Well, 2024 will be your next move. Little bit of downtime, I'm sure. I know you've got many other ventures, so it probably won't be downtime for you, but keep sort of hustling with things on boxing. By the side, we know that Kyle's very good with what he's doing in his position. How are plans coming together? You talk about having venues and dates booked already. York Hall for 2024, straight in with a bang. Also, you've dangled the carrot at me about a potential overseas show. Let you sort of touch on that a little bit more.
Yeah, well, we've got a dozen dates already booked for next year. We've got a few in York Hall. We've got our regular Swindons. We've added 3 Welsh shows to the schedule now that we worked there once, and it was really successful. Welsh is like a good area for us that we think there's some really good talent. We've signed Victoria Perkins, a great female fighter making a debut on our show in a couple of weeks. She's an outstanding prospect, and some of the guys, we did our first show a couple of weeks ago, and it worked really well. We've got Gary Lockett, Tony Borg, some great trainers over there, Enzo, Macronelli obviously. So we're working with all of those, and that's added to the schedule next year. And as we said, we dangled the carrot. With our Nigerian boxers, they're doing such great things. They're getting an awful lot of interest. We couldn't quite get it over the line this year, but we reckon we can first quarter next year. There's, Nigerian TV, you've got the Nigerian sports ministers interested in it. There's a lot of money over there. I think, that's me and you over there with armed guard, a couple of armed guard for the day. There's
another hard Instagram photo.
Absolutely, I don't think, but won't be dealing with any cash over there, that's for sure. But why not? Again, why not? If it can be done, let's do it. But there's other venues, other boxes we're looking at. We've done Oxford, we've done Gloucester, we've done Brighton, we've done Liverpool. We're talking with people about getting a Newcastle show in the schedule as well. So we just want to keep moving forward.
That is precisely what dreams are made of as a promoter, right? They're the sort of things that you look forward to. Already look at that London expansion. Now Wales, as you mentioned, dangled a carrot with Nigeria, and you're in for a magnificent 2024. Let's talk about the scene as a whole. A couple of things that we're sort of pending announcements for. Firstly, Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn, a long time going. I think, when was it? Last time back in, 2022, October time, I think the fight was cancelled. Conor obviously returned to the ring now. A long layoff, still politics involved that go with it, but we are awaiting an announcement, we think late Jan, February. Your thoughts?
I'd still like him to be cleared properly by the boxing board. I think he's got away with it on some technicalities. I really like Conor Benn. I like his team. I like that Eddie and the guys at Matchroom are really backing him. But personally, I think he needs to get the boxing board to say, yeah, you're cleared to fight. That may not come, and we may see him fighting under different jurisdictions in different countries, in America, Europe, I don't know. But for sure, I'd like to get him cleared. That said, and politics aside, it's a great fight. I know, that's going to break some records on pay-per-view for sure, because everyone's going to want to hear about it. And regardless of what you think about Conor Benn, he's been out for a little while. He's still got his costs. This is going to generate him a couple of quid. He's got to replenish the coffers for sure. So it's going to generate both fighters an awful lot of money, and it's one the fight fans want to see.
Obviously, with everything to unfold as and when and how it does, Sonny Edwards put up something quite interesting, and I get there's technicalities, and they originally expected this appeal process to only be 6 weeks. It now looks like it still won't be done till like January, February time. But Sonny said he's actually served more time out the ring than boxers who have faced a ban. Yeah. What do you make of those comments? It's kind of true.
It is kind of true, and knowing what they did with Tyson Fury, they may end up doing it retrospectively when they come up. I mean, they may come out and give him a ban, but he's been out so long, they'd probably just say, time served, you can fight. But in that way, they'll probably save some face. But you just want to, whatever happens, get it resolved. I think it's embarrassing for the sport that it's taken so long. Regardless of the right or the wrongs, who's going to be found guilty or not, it's embarrassing for the sport. It's taken too long. It's given too many column inches to talk negatively about the sport. And it's a sport I love, it's a sport you love. We don't want to be talking about all the shit and the bad stuff. Get it sorted, get the appeals done and make a decision. Let's just get it sorted.
Very fairly said. I think a lot of people probably agree with you on that point. Tyson Fury, interesting one. 2 weeks on, I still can't quite believe it, but I think, playing devil's advocate, everyone's entitled to a bad night on the office. Tyson, I think, in all respect to him, with humility came out and said, look, the only person that I've let down is myself. It's not the team's fault, it's not the people around me. He said he always knew it was going to be a harder task than he thought. I still am a little bit puzzled by it, because watching it unfold was just ridiculous. I mean, it was the fact that people had laughed so much about the pad footage and the build-up. Would that affect the sales or something like that? And then for what to happen, I mean, was it a bad night at the office? How do you describe what we saw on that night in Riyadh?
Well, I think it's a bit of everything. Ngannou's better than we thought. Still no good.
How much better?
Still not good enough to be in with the world champion. Absolutely still not good enough. I don't know what, that wasn't Tyson Fury that any of us knew or any of us have seen. We've seen him dazzle Wilder, and we didn't see that. I expected, as most people did, that Ngannou wouldn't just get anyone near him. He'd just keep him at range, pick him off, get him in a clinch, and then start again. And it was fucking embarrassing, to be honest with you. How does he get put on his arse by somebody making their boxing debut? What is that about? But It's a massive event. He's made an awful lot of money. People will forget about this moving forward when there's a big Usyk fight, sort of, everyone's going to be talking about. The undercard made an awful lot of money. The whole event was spectacular, and fair play to them for spending all that money on it. But he's a world heavyweight champion. I mean, if I'm a WBC contender waiting for my shot, I'd be pretty pissed off that there's this delay. I want a chance at the champ. What have I got to do?
So let me pick up on that. We're now expecting Ngannou to get a top 10 ranking with the WBC. I think fair to say he's probably going to get an opportunity regardless. You put in a performance like that and you're guaranteed another 1 or 2 fights. But WBC ranking after one fight, your thoughts? It wasn't even for the WBC belt.
It's just, I mean, if you're getting bumped out of the top 10 because of Ngannou, you're going to be pissed off. That's absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong. He's come in and he's done a fight. He's fought. He's done all right. He's, credit to him. He's come from a different sport, made his debut and done all right and earned a few quid. There's no way he's in the WBC top 10. Absolutely not. You start going into the top 10 and the top 20, the top 30, and there's some questionable boxers in there if you think they're top 30 because there's not the depth of skill and the number of boxers around in the heavyweights. But that's wrong. That'd be embarrassment. WBC shouldn't do it. That just means they're pandering, and it sort of dilutes what the true boxing's about. We know there's the misfits. It's like a side thing to the box. It's not really boxing. But if you start letting them start coming into top rankings, some of these guys, what does that say about boxing? Yeah, I just think it's wrong.
And then just lastly from me, Anthony Joshua. Now Eddie came out afterwards, he was like, right, cool, we're making Joshua and Ngannou and all sorts. Ngannou is probably the man to fight, especially with the money that's up there in the Middle East with Turkey Al-Sheikh. God, what next for AJ? I mean, the Wilder fight was discussed for so long, and Ngannou now being discussed. I don't really know if there's too much out there away from that. They spoke about Char potentially being an opponent, Kabayel being an opponent. We want to see AJ in the big fights, right?
It's a bit no man's land if you're a heavyweight contender at the moment because Usyk's got those belts, Tyson's got those belts. Tyson's not really entertaining anyone. They're just talking as him and Usyk. So what do you do if you're a top 10 contender waiting for your shot? AJ's a top 10 heavyweight, a top 5 heavyweight for sure. So it's hard for him. Who does he fight? He needs to keep active, needs to keep earning because the clock's ticking. So I appreciate, and if you sort of work your way through the lists, there's not that much choice for him. Stick him in with Ngannou. He's not the world heavyweight champion. Why not go and make a few quid? That's a decent fight, to be fair. You shouldn't be seeing the world heavyweight champion fighting people like Ngannou, but anyone else who wants to should. So, I'd like to see him busy. And Ngannou would be interesting, but I don't know who else is there. I feel for him because what does he do? Because there's not enough heavyweights to fight 3 or 4 times a year and keep yourself busy while you're waiting for a title shot. And that title shot just seems to be further and further away. Who knows if IBF might start dropping people because of mandatories not being fulfilled and stuff like that, and then he gets an opportunity at a title then. That's probably what's going to happen. I'd probably like to see that just to break it up a bit because there's a lot of dominance between Fury and Usyk. And until they get it on, it's not fair on everyone else, to be honest.
When it rains, it pours. I feel like when one belt gets vacated, they're all just going to go, woo, and just belts will be fragmented for the first time since really, I suppose since Joshua beat Parker, because Wilder had that WBC, so they've been tied up for a long, long time. And all the same people, I suppose this era is probably coming to an end if we're being realistic. Finally, you mentioned Tyson Fury, Oleksandr Uysk. I think that's being tied now for February. One of the questions I was going to ask you before is, does it change the way that you rank Tyson Fury? How do you rank him now? Because I think going into that fight, people would have said without a doubt the best in the world. I think people had him over Usyk. I think maybe now people edge Oleksandr Uysk. What's your thoughts going into that fight? Who do you favour?
I did an interview with you some time ago and I said, call me mad, I think Usyk will beat Fury. And I got ruined on some of the comments on that, and I still stand by that. I like Tyson Fury, he wins because of his size, his range, and he's quick. But he's in against not very slick boxers. You don't see him fighting Andy Ruiz and those kind of people. The quick, slick, fast-moving boxers. Usyk will cause him all sorts of trouble, I think. And I think if you get the right Usyk turn up and not the right Tyson Fury, I think Usyk can do it.
Well, Mark, always a pleasure. 20 minutes banked. Nice to do it so close to home. Just a final message ahead of the back end of this year. 2 more shows to go. Starting to get real. Some big titles on the line. Paving the way. and working with good people, and I suppose most importantly, you're enjoying it.
Oh, 100%. And do you know what? Boxing's in a really great place in the UK at the moment. You take out this thing we're talking about with the heavyweights and the Conor Benn. There's some really good promoters out there that we work with who are doing the same thing as us in certain areas. And there's some promoters who are better than they've ever been. You know, we're obviously staying in our lane, concentrating on our stuff, but we can see what everyone else is doing, and that's just brilliant for boxing in the small hall and on the bigger stage. But you know, we're finishing on a high, 2 massive shows with lots of titles on our shows now. So we're delivering for our boxers, we're delivering for the ticket buyers, for the fight fans. A dozen shows booked in for next year as well, and Fight Fan's going to carry on taking over.
Mark Neilson, thank you for speaking to us at Boxing Social. Hopefully catch up once more before the back end of the year.